seconds and counting.
What's up, guys? Clutch State Entertainment here, and today we will be talking about the Houston Texans and their head coaching search as they have requested to interview former Saints head coach and Super Bowl winner Sean Payton. This is a very interesting candidate here. I mean, obviously, Sean Payton is a fantastic head coach. He has a career coaching record of 152 and 89 losses. That's really, really good. He's got one of the highest winning percentages among head coaches that have coached over 200 games. He's been around the Saints organization for so long. He was able to rebuild the Saints. He was able to, build them back up at times. He's not necessarily going to be a dictator, but he's certainly a guy who has a big voice in pretty much everything that the organization wants to do. And Sean Payton's a very smart guy. He's a great leader. He's an offensive guru. I mean, he did so many great things with Drew Brees. You saw what he was doing with Taysom Hill down the stretch, before he did step away from football for 1 year. But the real question is, why would he even come to the Houston Texans? And why would the Texans even hire him based on the state of their franchise? And let's start with the state of the Texans franchise in correlation to Sean Payton. I just don't think it really makes sense at this point in time. I feel like it doesn't really fit the timeline of the Texans. Doesn't really fit the timeline of Sean Payton. I feel like Sean Payton should be coaching a team that is ready to win games. I know Sean Payton is a good coach. We saw him, put together like 8, 9, 7 win seasons with a pretty subpar Saints roster. They had those really bad defenses, really bad offensive lines. And, they had Drew Brees and, other players, but not really much else. But he was able to put together some wins. So, obviously he's able to just bring a winning culture. But I feel like at this stage in his career, Sean Payton just needs to go to a place, the roster's set up, they got everything in place. So you look at a team like Broncos, they're stacked with talent. They have young talent, they have players in their 26s, 27s. They got the Cardinals, who, while they may trade DeAndre Hopkins, they do have Kyler Murray. They do have some pieces on defense, Buda Baker, Isaiah Simmons, obviously J.J. Watt's going to retire. So maybe places like that makes a little bit more sense for Sean Payton, as where it really doesn't make sense for Sean Payton to come to a rebuilding team. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. Sean Payton is a fantastic football coach, one of the best coaches of all time, talking at least top 25 in my opinion. But why would Sean Payton come to the Texans? There's a real case for Sean Payton to come to the Texans. First of all, the Texans have 4 first-round picks in the next 2 years. They have the second most salary cap in the NFL this offseason. And the thing about Sean Payton is, obviously, free agents haven't really wanted to come to Houston in the past, but I feel like free agents would most definitely come to Houston if Sean Payton was the head coach and with a new franchise quarterback potentially being drafted. So that changes everything. Houston, no state income tax, and one of the biggest cities in the United States. And now you're going to add a potential Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, obviously free agencies before the draft, but still, the expectation is there. And then you got Sean Payton as your head coach, and he's going to bring an excellent staff along as well. So that brings a lot of intrigue to the Texans, which is something that obviously owner Kyle McNair has been desperate and really, really wants to see. Another interesting element here would kind of be Nick Caserio. Nick Caserio talked about maybe taking a step back, stepping away if the new head coach, didn't really feel comfortable with him. I think that's pretty realistic, and really just Nick Caserio, trying to take the blame here, take accountability, saying that he hasn't really done his job, obviously, because the Texans have won 7 games in the last 2 years. But, let's give Nick Caserio a little bit of a break here. This has probably been one of the hardest situations for any general manager in NFL history. So while I appreciate Nick Caserio taking accountability, I don't think that he needs to step back. I don't feel like he needs to be feeling that much pressure. Though it does seem that Kyle McNair is putting pressure on him, he shouldn't really have to worry. And I think that, Sean Payton really could be the only guy that could kind of take away Nick Caserio's powers a little bit. So that's just something to think about and something to look out for. Another thing about Sean Payton is that he cannot conduct interviews until January 17th. That's only 6 days from now. But obviously, the Texans can start to conduct some interviews with like Ben Johnson and other candidates that are out of playoffs. You got Ejiro Evero, the Broncos. Got the Eagles coaches on a bye week right now, so you got Gannon and Steichen, and then obviously D'Amico Ryans. Who even knows he's going to accept the interview request at this point? He's got a game on Saturday to coach for. So Sean Payton is going to take a little bit of time while we interview other guys and other. And obviously, the fact of the matter is that the Saints are going to have to, give another team the rights to Sean Payton, which means a trade. So they're going to expect at least a first-round pick. We've seen coaches, be traded for Bill Belichick, John Gruden, Herm Edwards, Parcells, and those are the, great coaches. Sean Payton is a great coach, but does it truly make sense for the Texans to trade one of their first-round picks, even though they have a lot? I don't think so. They have a clear talent deficiency, and I think it's just better to get a head coach that you're comfortable with. You don't have any concerns of why he, stepped out for a year of football. Obviously, the Saints were in cap hell, and they kind of and they're in a really bad situation right now as well. So I don't blame them at all. But who knows what Sean Payton's going to do next? So giving up a first-round pick for a guy like that, still a great coach. It just leaves me a little uncertain, and it's something that I would personally stay away from. With that being said, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you want the Texans to hire Sean Payton as their next head coach? Yes or no? And that'll be all for today. See y'all next time. Peace.